So that Friday at 10, BBC Two can present the best of The Man from Auntie.
I was disgusted.
So was I, dear.
Once upon a time, there was a television station.
Hello, good morning and welcome to TVAM.
I feel very happy about it.
Everyone was very happy, but not for long.
It is the sack, yes, undoubtedly.
New faces appeared.
Without me, the place would have gone bust ages ago.
And old ones disappeared.
TVAM is expected to confirm in the next few minutes that it's sacking all the technicians involved in the company's dispute.
The rise and fall of TVAM, Storm in an Egg Cup, tonight at 7:20 on BBC Two.
"25 years ago, Manchester United became the first English club to win the European Cup. As the present-day team attempts to emulate that early success, the original team marked their anniversary by returning to Wembley to relive the big day.
At last, Matt Busby, the maestro of Manchester United, had groomed a team great enough to beat Europe's best. He was king of soccer. His wonderful 11 men were all princes.
I felt for him after the match because immediately the final whistle went and they all charged for him, you know, and he was an old man, he hadn't been well. But afterwards, when things settled down slightly, he I think enjoyed it more than any other person in Man United Football Club. Having said, you know, you say that you were the European champions, you were the best in Europe, if not the best in the world, and I think he enjoyed the experience afterwards more than anybody else. Every dream that he'd ever had, you know, had come true. Maybe not with the players that he would have liked, but nevertheless, it was. That's what I think about Sir Matt Busby and the day.
United have got Benfica on the run now. Sadler, Charlton, a goal! He scored! Charlton has scored! A wonderfully taken goal, and Sadler was the man. Look from our other camera, and there's Charlton making it 1-0. 8 minutes of the second half gone, and that could be the goal.
I'm very, very proud as a Manchester lad to have been involved in it. I'm very proud for what it means to the club, what it means to the whole city of Manchester. But as far as looking back goes, I look back with pleasure, not with longing. It's something I'm very, very happy with.
I think everybody was. I think everybody knew, you know, particularly for Matt's sake as well, that it was the European Cup and this was going to be his last chance ever of winning it.
I think everybody wanted to win for the boss. And I think it was his final more than the players.
It makes me laugh when I read about, you know, fallen idol and fallen superstars when they talk about me, because stuff like that. I mean, that's something they can't take away. I mean, they'll always be there.
I always felt it was a part of the history of the club, and it wasn't like something that one would really enjoy actually doing. One felt that it was part of the history, and I was so delighted after the game we won, not because we won, but because if we had lost, it would have been absolutely terrible.
But I did feel that there was an inner feeling, I don't know what it was, but I felt that we were going to win this match and nothing would stop us from winning it.
When he was in the team, it was produce or else. That was a good thing. And I think he was apprentice, but hopefully he come out a tradesman. And that's the mentality the senior players gave you. It was okay, you're a young boy, but you're not in football terms. You're doing a man's job, and it was expected of you. There was no quarter given. He was get on with it.
The tension wasn't there. We were just glad we were playing in a European Cup final. It was at Wembley, and you know that was great. So it was just a normal bunch of very happy lads going to play in a final.
Everything was concentrated on the game, so there was no nerves or anything like that. We had to go out and do it, and of course do it for Sir Matt as well.
The boss's instructions were as usual. You know, the boss's instructions would go out and attack, and that was it. And if you can get one, go and get two, and if you can get two, go and get three.
Charlton to Kidd. Best Charlton in the middle, so too is Aston. Charlton! Another!
So whilst they were all enjoying themselves down in London, I was in hospital in Manchester in pain, suffering pain badly, while they were all having a great time.
A great time indeed. The greatest time the Grand Old Club had ever known. Now, 25 years later, those same players set out once more from Old Trafford to relive the night when Manchester United emerged from the shadow of a savage catastrophe.
Munich Airport, and wreckage that tells the story of the dreadful disaster. The house, about 300 yards beyond the end of the runway, struck by the doomed aircraft. Here, 21 out of the 44 people aboard lost their lives when it crashed. As the news of the disaster became known, Britain was appalled. Among the fatalities were 7 members of the famous Manchester United team. Only the day before, they'd met Red Star in Belgrade in their European Cup tie. United had been quick to take the lead. This was through a goal by Dennis Viollet, one of those injured in the crash. In the first half, the British team were making rings round the Yugoslavs, and they scored their second thanks to Bobby Charlton, another of the injured. This is how all would like to remember the boys of this great team playing typically fine football. Football grounds throughout the country flew flags at half-mast, and football fans wore tokens of mourning. Players, black armbands, tributes to the men of Manchester, sports writers, and all who died.
I'd been playing in Europe for a long time, more than anyone else in the club at the time. Pre-Munich, before the crash, of course, and so I had something else to play for. You know, those boys who died in the crash, I had felt the responsibility, and I really felt that responsibility. It wasn't bull, you know. I really felt that we should win this, and this was our only chance, you know. And to be given this opportunity, you know, to win, to get through, beat Madrid in Madrid, and to get to the final in Wembley, I felt that this is it. This is, you know, God's been good to us, you know. And yes, I felt a lot of responsibility.
I think that before the accident, we were just Manchester United, a team from Manchester, no great affiliation to the rest of the country. But I think with accident, after the accident, the club meant something really to everybody in the country.
The headlines called them the Busby Babes. It was a trite label, and Matt Busby detested it. For the team of Duncan Edwards, Roger Byrne, Tommy Taylor, and the rest was a side of capable, gifted young men. And at the final reckoning, 8 of them perished at Munich.
They were all friends of mine, and I can see them now. I see it every day. I never forget their names or their faces. They're clear. In fact, they get clearer every day. You know, no. I don't think there's nothing sad or morose about it now. You know, it's just great that we sort of did justice to their memory.
The feeling we had was obviously we wanted to win it for the boss. As you go back to obviously with the Munich lads, the tragedy and everything, and I don't think we'd be telling the truth. That was paramount. We wanted to win it for the boss.
I didn't realise how close it was to the Munich events and so on. And as I look back, I wasn't apprehensive. I have to admit that. I think people like Bobby and Shea were apprehensive. I think I was lucky. I think, in fact, all 11 of us were lucky to be the 11 players to represent Manchester United, not just for ourselves and for the club, but the players that had gone before, for the management, and for the people who did so much work at the club.
When you think that Sir Matt had been in an air crash only 10 years before, where they had lost half of the team, and that was 10 years later on, he'd won the tournament, which he'd always set his heart on. It was the most magnificent night for the fans, for Manchester United, and also, of course, for Sir Matt.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen him nervous, but he was a little bit, you know, and obviously very emotional for him. I mean, it was a special occasion, and I would think before, during, and after the game, his mind was probably wandering back to, you know, the lads that had nearly done it for him.
United had taken the first steps to Wembley with comfort and style. Hibernians of Malta were overwhelmed by 4 goals at Old Trafford, where the tie was effectively decided. The second round was much tighter, but after a goalless draw in Sarajevo, they moved on to a narrow and slightly nervous success at home. The quarter-final against Górnik of Poland was even closer, but their 2-goal lead from the first leg ensured their survival. The real test was now at hand.
Manchester United versus Real Madrid. 2 of the most successful and highly respected teams in the football world today, meeting in the first leg of the European Cup semi-final. Manchester United, the English League champions, the mighty Real Madrid, already champions of Spain this season, and 6 times winners of the European Cup. Styles. Best to Kid. Good flick that was by Best. There's Aston. Again the cue at the far post for the cross if he can get it back. Ran well for him. Best. Oh! Beauty! A real good goal.
This is where I landed in my career. Making coffee for that one.
United were without their joker for the second leg. A knee injury had claimed Dennis Law when he was most desperately needed. George Best's goal had given them a fragile advantage, but they had also lost David Hurd with a broken leg. And now they faced Real in Madrid, in their own Bernabeu Stadium.
First half we got slumped. I mean, they played great. The fact that we were only 3-1 down was a bonus. The goal that we got was an incredible OG anyway.
No one said a word at half time. We just sat there. That's it. Even Sir Matt never said a thing. And then the whistle went for us to go out, and we sort of got up. All of a sudden he said, whoa.
Now remember, you're only a goal behind. And all of a sudden, that gave you that little bit of hope. It lifted you. But his timing was superb.
I hadn't thought of that going in, but when he said it, that was the one, I would think, that gave us the little lift that we needed, just those few words.
We've been hammered, well and truly, and we really survived just about in touch with them. Obviously 3-2, of course we were in touch. And, you know, that's what he was saying. As bad as we sort of played, really, and as well as they played, the score in the tie was still 3-2.
We'd all forgot about the goal that George had scored at Old Trafford. And I think that really put something into us.
We came out second half, obviously nothing to lose. And then I can't even remember what part of the second half it was, but you know, George went up for something and the keeper went with him, committed himself, and the ball came over and it sort of came towards me and I stuck out something. And I sort of carried on and it sort of touched me really all right. And I didn't really know where it had gone. And I sort of carried on around the side of the goal. And I don't know, there was 135, 140,000 people there. It was as if they'd all stopped talking at once. It was like silence, and I thought, what's happened there? You know, there's something happened. I'm not. And of course, the ball was in the back of the net.
When David scored that goal, it was a period in the game when a lull happened. For the first time, Madrid had dropped back. I mean, they gave us a pounding in the first half, you know, and I thought they'd do the same in the second, and we could possibly lose 5 or 6 goals. You know. But I think they made a tactical mistake, or they decided that was enough, and they gave us a little bit of space in which to start playing and coming out of defence. Instead of being pressed, we would start to get a bit of space to play. And George, for the first time, came into the match, and Pat Crowden had a throw-in on the right. I remember saying, and no one seemed to want to move, you know. Anyway, he managed to get the ball to George, and George managed to turn, beat 2 or 3 players, left them in his wake, and was away. You know. And he seemed to have no support at all, you know. So I jogged from the back, you know, And I can remember Nobby shouting, the thing it still stays in my mind. Nobby shouting, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" You know, and shouted, you know. A little bit more choice language than that. But I went. Of course, I was about 25 yards. Once I got 25 yards out of Nobby's range, that was it. He wouldn't see me. I don't think he ever knew where I'd gone.
Well, Bill was a centre half in the stopper mould, and probably nobody finer in the game.
It was quite fun. I remember when we scored the equaliser to make it 3. Billy Phillips, who appeared God knows where from.
I was in the box, waiting to see if he did cross it. I was in position, but nobody else was in there. And he looked in his usual way. George looked up he looked up, and he had a second look as if he couldn't believe it. You know, he just sort of looked up again. You know, and he gave me, feinted to drive it into the near post. And the goalkeeper went, the centre back went. He pulled that most beautiful pass for me, just inside, and it left me an easy shot just into the far post, which I did side-footed into the far post. It's incredible. It was the highlight of my career.
I'd watched Bill Folks from sort of early days, and I've never seen him do anything like that at all. And everybody, when he got near the halfway line, always screamed for him to get back, because he wasn't regarded as the most skillful, fluid player. But he went on, and it must have been a sixth sense. I somehow think that really that run, that competition, I'm sure somewhere fate was smiling as well.
It was a match that we felt was fated to be ours. After we had the little bit of luck against Real Madrid in the semi-final, I thought, well, we won it now, because somebody's looking after us here.
The lad said, well, let's just play out the last 10 minutes and play for a draw, because I thought if we'd have kept going then we would have probably won the match in Madrid.
I then remember feeling a great deal of pressure, because when you get close to winning something, you then get frightened of losing it.
That fear was gloriously unfounded. As Busby came scrambling from the dugout to greet his players, the great man yielded to the emotions of the evening. There was joy, there was relief, and there were tears. Above all, there was a powerful conviction that Matt Busby's United were moving towards their destiny.
Somehow, when they reached the semi-final against Real Madrid, it was as if it was a round too soon. You know, that was the final. That should have been the final. And Real Madrid had always had the better of the previous games. And although I admired that team, I really thought, you know, this could be it, particularly after that first leg. But they pulled something special out because they were a special team.
United's journey was nearing its close, and Benfica, the champions of Portugal, lay waiting at the end of the road.
Bobby Charlton leading Manchester United, and the wonderful old veteran, Coluna, leading Benfica. There's Bobby Charlton. Brian Kidd, and a happy 19th birthday to him. Shea Brennan, and there is Matt Busby, and how most people in this stadium, and I'm sure in the television audience, are praying for him at this moment. And John Aston, his proud father, is here to watch him today. And Alex Stepney played his first international here last week. Pat Guerin. That is Tony Dunn. Bill Fox, who's played in every European Cup campaign for Manchester United, the only player to have done so.
In the hotel lobby, the prodigal son has been pacing for 3 hours. For once, United have kept George Best waiting. Now the team is complete. The memories come crowding in as these middle-aged men revisit their past. The talk chatters on through the afternoon and early evening, and the laughter and stories continue as United sit down to dine.
Okay, can I put that Italian memory?
Although the side was sprinkled with some of the most famous faces in football, these players retained the common bond of men who had served the same apprenticeship. For this United team represented the ultimate tribute to Matt Busby's managerial genius. While other managers would flourish their checkbooks, Busby discovered his own men and moulded them in his own ways.
And we're sure that Sadler's going to go back. They hope folks, Handel, Torres, but all eyes will be on number 6, Nobby Stiles, surely the man who's played 3 times against Eusebio and beat him on each occasion.
And obviously I had special, detail of him looking after Eusebio. But actually we shared it between David Sadler and myself, that if he went very deep, David would take him, so I wouldn't be drawn out of position to cover. And if he came in at my zone, then it was me that took him up, which, it was always a great challenge to play against.
Number 7. One man who just needs no identification, George Best.
I think we all thought we were destined to be the first English side to win it. And looking back, probably overconfident, because for the 90 minutes we didn't really play too well.
Pat Guerin, a lot of people say he's one-face player, but he's an immaculate passer of the ball.
I remember Mario Kalinic, he was the playmaker, and it's a strange situation. I remember very early on in the first half he had gone for a ball with me, and I'd put the sole of my boot down, and he kicked the sole of my boot, and he never really was running at the same, and it was accidental, believe me, and he was never really running at the same pace after that. And if you were playing it in the continent, that would be a free kick against you, but the referee didn't give anything, and the film didn't really play much after that. And he was the outstanding player, never mind Eusebio, he was the best player, Kalino.
Dunn, and Kaluna again. Number 11, Aston. It goes Kidd, and Sadler.
Jack in that room with his key. Bloody get a pair of boots. As long as you get the down, another 2 years.
Play on, and Guerin against finds Best. Guerin is on the right wing. Oh, Aston is got teeing it up for Kidd. Sadler finding Kidd. Oh, great ball to Sadler, must score! Oh, Sadler, what a miss! Oh, David Sadler. Was given goalkeeper credit. He started to move out, and Sadler made the mistake of shooting hurriedly. Matt Busby must be wondering whether it wasn't an important one went away.
And that was the only one that scored in this end.
You flicked, well, you didn't flick it, you swept it in that end, wasn't it?
The 3 and extra 10.
And Brian Kidd scored one off the crossbar and headed it in.
It was a clinic after. Collector's item now, showing a young lad. Wing play.
It was a great night, Brian.
I must have enjoyed it though.
All I can remember was Johnny Aston hitting the ball past the fullback and running.
Brilliant.
He was the best player on the pitch.
And I mean,
John was great.
his timing, when it went to strike, the fullback must have thought he was having a night.
Well, he was. He couldn't do anything about it, though.
In fact, there was once in the second half, 2 of them came. He must have thought, you'll have to come and help me here. And 2 of them came. And he knocked it, 2 of them. I won't remember.
It's nice to see everybody, all the old faces again.
And they are old now.
Yeah. Oh, are you? It's only me and you, not changed, eh?
So Busby and Best walked from the pitch where their history was made on a fine spring evening, a quarter of a century ago.
As Benfica start the second half. No score. Now Best. Well, you don't have to speak English or Portuguese to understand what Best was trying to say to Cruz. Best to take the free kick. Say Augusto. Well, that was a good shoulder charge by Guerin. Aston, well, he's doing what he did in the first half. That's the beauty. and caused a lot of trouble in the first half with that sort of run and centre. I don't know what's going through that mind of Matt Busby. And sitting on Matt Busby's left is John Aston, who's the father of Manchester United's number 11. Well, a mighty proud man he must be tonight. Here's Best. Charlton on his left. And Crerham breaking on the right.
Joking. So George goes to the left. Breaking on the right.
Well, Best. Has to be broken a wee bit quicker.
Well, this is Manchester United all right now. They're playing with tremendous heart and vigour. They just want to be a little cooler in their finishing.
Goal with almost no confidence at all in the rest of his defenders. United have got Benfica on the run now. Sadler.
Slide back inside. That's the goal he went scored.
Scored! Wonderfully taken goal, and Sadler was the man. Look from our other camera, and there's Charlton making it 1-0. 8 minutes of the second half gone, and that could be the goal that Walter Winterbottom said could stop the flood. Bobby Charlton first in the European Cup this season.
This has been very good. Manchester United have been opening it up extremely well, and now they're in the lead. So here we go for a real resounding win for the United.
So now Benfica cannot stay back in defence and bide the time as they have been doing. Best offside. No, it's no goal, Georgie. I have a feeling he knew it wasn't a goal, but it's all good practice. Well, they're not going to be moved, but it's a free kick for Benfica. Cruz going to take it. Oh, what a game he's had, the best. And Sadler breaking. This is Sadler. He's got Crerham on his right. Oh, there were enough units.
Very entertaining anyway.
We win as well.
Manchester United really bubbling now. Creaking ominously. Kaluna to Grasa. Simoes. Torres. And again it's done. He spots the danger almost before it comes. Now Kidd is going to take an awful lot on himself at the moment. To get into the penalty area.
Go on, Brian Chenham.
That was a silly foul to give because Kidd had nobody there to help him. So now we get the free kick teed up at Charlton. Number 4 is Crerham. Torres is back at the fullback. Charlton. Ran away from Kidd. Best. Oh, this is real Best wizardry. And surely, oh, what a save by Enrique from Sadler. But how wide open the Benfica defense was. The fans will talk about that for a long, long time. Well, Bill Fox beating Torres in the air now. Oh, Bill Fox has probably gained 3 or 4 inches since Bobby Charlton scored. Colonna, Eusebio! Now then, that should serve as a very great warning to Manchester United. So, quarter of an hour to go then. And Best turn into that one was caught by Colonna. And Bobby Charlton understands that when a player turns quickly, it's almost impossible not to catch him like that. Mr. Lobello has decided that Best is not as injured as he's trying to kid as he is. Let's hope he's right. But you see, Best is playing with his stockings rolled down. These fellas will play without shin pads, so the slightest crack on the shins is terribly painful. Cruz into Jose Augusto. Noyes now moved on to the right. Eusebio. Colonna. Two skippers opposing each other. A backward ball to Torres. He's not getting up to them well against Faust.
Yeah, nowhere near there.
And from our other camera, now we see this goal again. What Grasser coming in.
Put that ball. Yeah. 9 times out of 10 it goes in the opposite side. 9 times out of 10.
From the end. Charlton to Craren. Handball. Not given because United were in possession. They had the advantage. Oh, Best a beautiful pass to Craren. And that was a foul by Cruz. He went right through over the ball on Craren. And Pat Craren's got to be really hurt before he goes down. Free kick. Craren. Best. Ooh. Number 5 is Cruz and Colonna. Running like a youngster, this fella. Torres. And the first time we have seen the towering Torres, the 6'4" Torres, really use his height. Eusebio. Torres. Eusebio. Oh, this could be dangerous. And good goalkeeping by Stepney. Coming out as he did, a few yards. So one each. And there's still time, and here's Best to Craren, who's filling this space on the right so often and so well. Now Charlton. Oh, and the Benfica players knew all about that lethal right boot. Simoes. Benfica unmarked in the middle. This is Best. This is Eusebio. Oh, what a save by Stepney. And what a sportsman Eusebio, when he could have won that match, to applaud Stepney like that.
And I had to make a decision whether to go and attack Simoes when he was coming down the middle and release it. A hold. Made the decision and he's released it, and obviously Eusebio has gone right through. It was just one of those things. But talking to Eusebio later, he was very tired, and you don't realise that. I mean, when Wembley slaps you, and years later, as I say, talking to him, he said that when he got there, he was very tired, and he just concentrated on trying to strike it.
Had it been Jimmy Greaves, then United would not have won the European Cup, because Greaves would have come down and, hey, take that. But I could see the Eusebio thought, there's glory written all over the front page of the paper, you know, I'm going to really smash this. And really what he should have done, he should have placed it. I mean, I don't think Steppers knew anything about it. I think he hit him in the chest, if I remember.
I came off my line, realising that, thinking it's going to be a 50-50 chance, but when the Wembley turf, the ball slowed up. I realised when I got to my 6 yard that he's going to get there first. He's going to chip me. I stopped. But Eusebio didn't want to score goals like that. He just nudged it forward, which gives me the impetus to sort of stand up to him. He hit this shot, which basically came at me, but I held it. And obviously at the time I didn't realise the importance, but my main thing was to get rid of the ball and let's counter-attack because there's only 2 or 3 minutes left of the European Cup final. And then he came up and spoke to me in Portuguese with a accolade, I presume.
Well, at the time, I've got to be quite honest and say that I'd never expected anything else. I know it was a situation which would really have favoured the striker, but I've seen Stepney do it in lesser games so many times in that kind of situation quite successfully that it was just par for the course. I expected Alex Stepney to make that save, and he did.
Manchester United bringing everybody back. The man taking the free kick is Jacinto. Up the Torres. And the whistle goes for the end of 90 minutes. Bobby Charlton, who's played so magnificently. Tremendous general. Well, he remembers the extra time in the World Cup final.
To win something with the lads that you play with every day and they train with every day is a different feeling altogether. And I find it very difficult to compare them. And I've never ever once said that the World Cup was more important. I never felt that. I think that it was a national thing by the time Man United got to the final of the European Cup. I wouldn't like to separate them, and I wouldn't like to have had a football career without either of them.
66 was absolutely brilliant. It was tremendous, you know, being an Englishman that day. But 68 was equally so, because I was a Manchester boy raised up on him, watched all the great stars when I was a kid. And I think for Brian kidding myself, it was especially emotional because, as I say, local kids, and to go and do it, and for Sir Matt, it was great. It was all the ambitions, what we wanted to do, and how great, as I say, Duncan Edwards, Eddie Coleman, my particular idol. It was great, and those were the memories as well.
So, as we start extra time, Charlton scored for Manchester United 53 minutes, Grasa for Benfica 11 minutes from the end. We now go into the first period of 15 minutes. The second time in the history of the European Cup that there has been extra time. Torres. The first time was in 1958 when Real Madrid beat Milan 3-2 at Brussels after extra time. Training Manchester United again trying to use this long one. Kidd doing the worrying there. Almost getting the corner. There is Charlton, got his stockings rolled down. And there he is. So a lot of players have. Aston. Benfica keeping Grasa, number 6 up front. There's Aston. Oh, he's got Adolfo really beaten, young John Aston. Best going to take the corner. Faust has gone up into the penalty area. And listen to this Manchester contingent. 30,000 great fans. Shouldn't imagine that anyone would want to run about overmuch now there's extra time. Sensible play.
Yeah, watch it, Bomber. There.
Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, don't lie. All the others are congratulating Shea, you know, for down there.
And Best stepping up that mistake. Look at it from our other angle camera. Oh! 93 minutes. And a crowd. Not caring to whether it was a defensive mistake that led him through, but he took his chance magnificently.
The bomber, Shea, still thinks he made it for me. He pushed the ball to Alex and he cleared it. And I think Dave Sadler flicked it on. And there was only one defender. And he came in and I think he tried to do me and I stuck it through his legs. And once I did that, I was clear, and I made my mind up that I was going to take it past the keeper. And I'd actually decided if I got past the keeper, I was going to take it to the line and stop it and head it in on the goal line. But the keeper, silly bugger, the keeper, he got up too quickly and got back too quick, so I just knocked it in. And I can still see him diving and trying to keep it out, and it was right in the back of the net. And I realised then how tired I was because Paddy Crane caught me. And Paddy never caught anybody, so for him to catch me, I realised the extra time that we were all a little bit tired.
Stadium's really got his defence, which was really caught with its trousers down. Now Coluna. Now can Benfica raise their game a second time? It's a tremendous thing to ask of them. Charlton to Aston. Oh, and he's got the legs of Adolfo. And a corner. Oh, what a match Johnny Aston is having. So the crowd really giving Benfica the stick now as they get right behind Manchester United. And let's have a look at Kidd getting up to that one from behind the goal. And the second attempt, but it counts.
19. Do the goalkeeper there.
It looks as if they're going to tear Wembley apart tonight. What a fantastic turnaround. It looks as if the long journey of Manchester United is over. 3 goals to 1 the lead. Pinto, up goes Torres. But is he both fast? He's now 10 feet tall against him.
Jonathan's never seen this. Never seen this video, he says.
What do you mean? I'm going to ask for a rider.
What's his best? Kidd in the middle. And hit the bar. Extra time have gone. 3-1, Manchester United in the lead. Grasser. This is Stewart. Manchester United turning on their heat now as they did at the opening of the second half. Stiles. Farron, number 4. And how do you like to play for Benfica in face of a crowd like this? Well, the crowd have really decided that victory is theirs, haven't they? Charlton's the Kidd.
Come on, kiddo. Yeah, go on.
Yes, Charlton in the middle, so to Aston. Charlton! Another! He's got another!
Nee, doe nog maar. Dank je. Nee, dat is het. Kunnen hier dat wel wel, hè?
This must be it now! 99 minutes! And Bobby Charlton has done it! What a sensational 8 minutes! He began the move, and there's the Charlton shot on our remote camera. Brilliant effort. Oh, what football this is by United. Well, Matt Busby He probably allows himself a smile now. He's one on the feet with Johnny Aston. That must be looking to his right. And Jimmy Murphy next to Matt Busby, just sitting there as if nothing had happened. Half time of extra time. Tony Down having to have the attention.
Well, the crowd are getting ready for a fiesta. Nothing could stop Manchester United now from winning this game.
But only with seconds left, both lines would have given the signal that it's all over. We don't even look at Georgie Best, we look at the referee. And where is the man everyone thinks of? Matt Busby. And a tremendous moment for this great man. And Wolfgang is applauding him as he comes out on the pitch. Jackie Crompton, the trainer, and here comes the man that they would have for Prime Minister, President and everything. And Matt Busby going first to Benfica. What a tremendous thing to do, to go straight to Benfica and now to his own place. And to Bobby Johnson, the two great men, and to Brian Kidd, who must be moved on his birthday.
I watched the game on the television with some of my friends who came in about 6 o'clock. I think the kick-off was about 8 o'clock. They came in about 6 o'clock and brought a crate of McEwens in, so we had a couple of shandies while we were watching the game. Actually, I can't really remember a great deal about the extra time, but I believe one of the sisters told me that United had won 4-1.
How they cheered as Bobby Charlton led his men up to receive the handsome outsized trophy. Mr. Vibacker, President of the European Union of Football Associations, handed it over. This victory didn't belong only to Manchester United supporters. This was a win for Great Britain. What a match! What a team!
Under the